This is practical number 5, principles of animal nutrition. In this practical, we will perform classification of concentrates. And under the concentrate, we have already performed classification and identification of energy concentrate. And in this practical number 5, we will do classification and identification of protein concentrates. So protein concentrates are usually rich in protein when we compare it with the energy concentrate, and their protein contents, they are more than 18, or in some cases or in some books there is they are considered as containing more than 20% protein. So as more expensive. If you look at human diet, the most expensive part in a daily diet, that's a protein like meat, egg, even the milk. They are more costly item as compared to the vegetable or plant protein stuff. So they are more expensive. So that's why their efficient and optimum utilization is of very much important when we want to get maximum profit from the animal. Protein feedstuff, they contain protein, and you are well aware protein is composed of amino acids, and some of those amino acids, they are considered as essential. Around 10 amino acids, they are considered as essential, and 10 amino acids are non-essential amino acids. Non-essential mean that they are not dietary essential. They are synthesized in the body. They are required by the body, but due to their synthesis in the body, if they are absent in the diet, we consider that diet is a safe diet, that is a good diet, because non-essential, they can be synthesized in the body. So they are dietary non-essential. When we talk about the monogastric species are unable to synthesize essential amino acids. So that's why we have to provide all essential amino acids in the diet of monogastric or young ruminants. But in case of ruminant animals, most of the essential amino acids, except those which are required in large amount, they are synthesized through microbial fermentation. So we are not very much concerned about the amino acid balance in the diet of ruminant animal, but nowadays in high productive animals, we are taking care of amino acids balance in the diet. But generally we say, even if some amino acids they are deficient in the diet of ruminant animals, they are able to synthesize through microbial fermentation. So that's why when we talk about protein quality, we are very much conscious about feeding of the monogastric animals rather than the ruminant animals. But for high producers or animals who are lactating at a high rate, we have to add lysine and methionine to fulfill the deficiency if that cannot be compensated by diet or by microbial fermentation. So that's why there is a more need in young ones. They are very much critical in nutrition of that monogastric species or young ones. In non-ruminant and young ruminants, essential amino acids they are required. But in case of ruminant animal, we are very much concerned with the quantity rather than the quality. At least we fulfill the amount required by the individual, and the rest is on the part of the animal. They have the ability to synthesize those amino acids. Protein sources, they are of mainly 3 types, depending upon the source where we are getting that type of protein. Like if we are getting from the plant sources or vegetable sources, they are known as plant protein sources. So these are the byproducts which are left after extraction of oil from oil seeds, and that product is known as cake or meal. Plant protein sources contain more than 20% of their total weight as a protein. Uh, In Pakistan and in majority of the other countries where oil seed crops like cottonseed, soybean, sesame, till, canola, then sarson or brassica family belonging plants like rapeseed. So they all contain their seed, the seed of all these crops, they contain oil. So oil is extracted by different ways. So depending upon the oil extraction method, we get two different type of products. One is known as cake. Why it is called cake? Its consistency is like a cake. Common example is cotton seed cake, खल बनोला या cotton से जो खल मिलती है, ठीक है? And second is rapeseed. Rapeseed is a that is known as a कड़वी या bitter खल जिसको हम कहते हैं, खल तोरिया. They are commonly available. Similarly, sarson we use for the extraction of that process for the sarson oil. So that is also available. That is known as meethi khal, sweet cake. So they are commonly available in Pakistan. Similarly, we can get from til after the extraction of oil. We can get peanut cake after the extraction of oil from the peanut, soybean, sunflower. So all such type of khal they are available, and that khal is obtained simply by extraction of oil through pressing the grain. So that is the first method, which is known as screw press or expeller process. In expeller process, what we do, there is simple cracking and then grinding the grain and pushing, pressing the grain, and as a result, the oil is separated. The leftover residue after the extraction of the oil is known as cake. So this is a screw press or expeller process. Second is a direct solvent extraction. Okay, we grind the grain and then we use a solvent that extract oil from the seed. The leftover residue after that extraction is known as meal. That is in a form of powder, not it's like a cake consistency. Third process is a combination of both, because when oil contents they are high in oil seeds, so that require a lot of solvent, and solvent is a costly item, and there is also another issue of residue of solvent in the cake or in the oil. So that's why two techniques are combined. First is pre-press, and then solvent extraction. Okay, first through material is passed through the expeller, or it is pressed, some oil is extracted, and when oil contents they are less than 5%, then solvent can be used to remove that oil. So in this way, we get these two different type of product. Here you can see the cake. This one is a cake, as you can see, it's a khal banola, locally available in the market and commonly used by the farmer in animal feeding. So its consistency is like this. It's a little bit dry, but when it is fresh, it's very soft. And this one is a meal. This is a canola meal. If you see, this product is also made after the extraction of oil, but by solvent extraction or pre-press solvent extraction. Here you can see the consistency. It's a granular or powdery type material. So here are the details. You can go through detail how this process is being done. Like in case of expeller, seed is first cracked, then crushed, converted into small flakes, and then in some cases there is a cooking. But if you look at our villages, you can see that there is a cow that is moving in a circle, and there is a little extractor machine is there. They put that sarson seed in that, and they get the oil. So that's almost the same process. The material is then passed through a perforated horizontal cylinder having revolving screw. Screw is simply, if you look at mincing machine that have a screw inside that. You can see from the picture in the coming next slide. And the residue contain up to 4% oil. So here is a screw press machine. Here you can see that this is the screw, like simple mincing machine. When we put meat or beef in that part, so due to revolving of this screw, the material is crushed and converted into mince. Similarly, the seed is converted, and here you look at this space. There are the perforated, simply you can say jali or sieve, the oil is extracted or collected over here, and this part is giving us the cake. This is another, you can see the screw, double screw. Solvent extraction we will do in case of even lab for the extraction of fat or ether extraction in the laboratory. We use a solvent, we do simple grinding of the stuff, then we pass through it that Sox-like apparatus where there is a circulation of the solvent that extract the fat from the stuff, and we use uh, that for the calculation of crude fat or ether extract from the stuff. So in this case, the oil contents in the leftover residue, they are less than 1%. So that's why the material is not like a cake, rather it's in a form of small particles. So oilseed cake and meals we are getting from the plant, they are the good source of protein, and some of them they contain more than 40% protein. And in case of cake, protein is around 30%, but in case of meal, it can go up to even 60%. And 90% of this protein is a true protein, and its digestibility is between 75 to 95%. And oil seed contain 9% CP, is in the form of nucleic acid protein, as compared to the meat meal and the fish meal. So nucleic acid protein is a little bit on the higher side. That protein is not digested or available. Not of. So nitrogen solubility of solvent extracted meal is usually high, and the protein of oil seed, they have a low glutamic and cysteine, glutamic acid, cysteine, and methionine. So these are the amino acids which are present in a less amount in the meal. And in case of except soybean meal, majority of the meal which we are using, they are deficient in lysine. Energy content depend upon the oil. If oil content there more than 1%, the energy will be on the high, on the upper side. But if that is less than 1%, like in case of meal, the energy contents they are 2200, 2400. Like other plant sources, they are deficient in calcium and phosphorus is there, but again in the form of phytate phosphorus, low vitamin B, and low in carotene and vitamin E. So here you can see the protein feed stuff and supplements. Here are the examples of these plant protein we have seen. Depending upon the type of oil seed which we are using, it may be either cottonseed cake or meal, rapeseed, peanut, sunflower, guar. Then comes the animal protein sources. So from animal we can also get protein. Uh, in case of large animal, after slaughtering, blood is there, blood meal can be made, meat meal we can or offal meal can be made. So this is the residue meat or the offal which are obtained from the butcher shops. Similarly, from poultry or avian, we get poultry feather meal and poultry offal meal. Then from marine sources, we have a lot of fish which are small size and not suitable for human consumption, that is used for making a fish meal, which is commonly used in the poultry diet. But nowadays, many countries in the world, they ban the use of animal protein stuff in poultry diets or other animals' diet. The reason being due to the occurrence of some diseases, particularly the mad cow disease is common in this context, and that is supposed to be from a prion protein, and that carried from this animal protein sources. So majority of the countries, they are not using this animal protein source in the animal diet, but in Pakistan, poultry feather meal and fish meal, they are still being used, and they are properly processed and considered as safe. Then the third one is some synthetic sources or non-protein nitrogenous compound. Like urea, we can use in ruminant animal diet. They are very high in protein. 46% is the amount of nitrogen, and its crude protein contents, they become up to 86. And NPN compound, non-protein nitrogenous compound, they contain urea, biuret, they can be used. Then single cell protein. Single cell protein is obtained from fermentation of the microbial fermentation of the stuff, and that microbial mass after purification, after refining, that is used in animal or human diet. Though it's a costly item in majority of the cases, after refinement, its cost increases. So that's not being used in animal diet, but for human, some products they are available and they can be used. So animal use have some restrictions in terms of its price. These are the there's a long list of these oil feed cake and meals. So oil, soybean, cottonseed, linseed, groundnut, corn, gluten, sesame, mustard cake or sarson, coconut or copra, brewer grains and yeast. Brewer industry like Murray Brewery, they use grain, they do fermentation, and after fermentation, they make alcohol or biofuel, the leftover residue that can be used in animal diet. Dry distiller grain, given the example of biofuel industry, that after this oil production, we get this stuff from the grain. So animal protein sources, they are derived from animal tissue, and they are mainly inedible tissues like during meat packing or the surplus milk product or marine sources. When we compare it with the plant sources, they are of high quality, they are of good quality source in terms of their protein or amino acid value. So they have a high quality protein, and they have a very better amino acid profile. But the disadvantage of using, because if we are getting that from animals which are suffering from some diseases, so they might be the carrier of some diseases like Salmonella, E. coli, and if there is a contaminated stuff, so aflatoxin might be there. High cost is high, definitely. When we are getting these sources from the animal, their cost and their processing increases their cost. And they're mainly suitable or mostly suitable, you can say, for monogastric species because of high amount of essential amino acid present. So in case of animal protein sources, meat meal or meat scraps that are available from these butcher shops or from meat packaging companies. Similarly, meat and bone meal is commonly available. Bones, they are being crushed. Then fish, from fish, poultry feather meal available from these poultry shops. Blood meal normally from butcher houses or butcheries, but again due to the ban on the utilization of animal protein sources, now its use that is not available in Pakistan and not being used in animal diet. Similarly, poultry byproduct meal, yes, they are available in the form of poultry byproduct or poultry offal meal, or like the name is poultry byproduct meal, PBM. Hatchery byproduct meal, that can be obtained from the hatchery waste, because at hatchery there are a number of eggs which do not hatch, or sometimes there is a dead in shell chick. So all that mixture can make a hatchery byproduct, and that can be used. Urea biuret or ammoniated feed, like we treat urea wheat straw with urea. Single cell protein, I've already mentioned, it's a microbial protein, and that can be obtained from non-photosynthetic and photosynthetic microorganisms. But the cost is a major factor in using single cell protein. The most important and most or the best quality plant protein source is the soybean meal. In Pakistan, we are importing it from different countries. Previously, we were importing it from USA, but now for the last many years, we imported soybean meal from this India. Now in Pakistan, like in our Arid University, we did experimentation, and we have sown this soybean meal and get some production. So this is one of the best source of protein that is high in lysine. 44% protein soybean meal is common, and that is being used in poultry diet to fulfill the amino acid deficiency and to provide the right amount of amino acids. So it's a better protein supplement, and can be used. But with monogastric species, there are some feed stuff which have some anti-nutritional properties. Soybean meal, if it is not properly processed or that have not properly heat treated, so there is a factor that is known as trypsin inhibitor. So that factor affect the availability of the protein. It basically inhibits the trypsin activity, and protein cannot be digested. This is the major limiting factor in case of soybean meal if it is not properly processed. Otherwise, it's a good source of lysine, it has high phosphorus content. This anti-nutritional factor can be inactivated through proper heat treatment of the soybean meal, particularly when there is a solvent extraction. So there is a heat treatment at that time, so that can inactivate. But there are certain tests like it's a potassium hydroxide solubility, urease test that we perform to check the quality of the soybean meal. So that will be done in your poultry course. Next is rapeseed meal, sunflower meal, cottonseed meal. They are commonly available in the country, and here you can see the pictures. After the extraction of oil, cottonseed cake, and if we use the solvent extraction, we get cottonseed meal. The cottonseed meal is contain about 38% protein, and it is low in crude fiber. Whereas the cake contain protein that about 20 or 22%. Again, that depend on whether the seed coat of has been removed or not. So that is known as decorticated and undecorticated. If seed coat has been removed, that is known as decorticated cottonseed cake. Otherwise, it is known as undecorticated. So undecorticated contain more fiber as compared to the decorticated. So then comes the corn gluten feed that is available from Rafan. They do corn processing. So we get this stuff that's a gluten part of the grain, and it is available in corn gluten feed which contain 30% protein, and the second one is which contains 60% protein. Even 20% protein corn gluten feed was also available. So they can be used in poultry. It can protein contents, they are about 40%, but it's a plant protein stuff, so it is deficient in lysine and methionine. Then guar meal obtained from the guar. Guar is mainly used in textile industry. It's guar gum is used in the textile industry. So after the extraction of the guar gum, the rest of our material can be used in animal diet. So it's a byproduct that contains hulls and germ. Protein content about on an average basis around 40%. But in ruminant diet, we usually avoid the use of this guar meal because animals do not like it. But in a poultry, it's a good stuff. It again, anti-nutritional factor is mainly it's a trypsin inhibitor or guar gum, so that can be inactivated by heat treatment or proper removal of the gum. Sunflower meal, commonly available because sunflower oil is used in human consumption because it contains the seed coat. So its fiber content, they are quite high, that can go up to 10 or 11%. And at the same time, its protein contents are also very appreciable. And in protein, due to the presence of high amount of fiber, we normally use less than 10% of the diet. Then sesame, though its production is less, and these still locally known as, they are available, but they are available in a limited amount, and they're not commonly used except where there is an oil extraction of the till, they are available. Next comes the chemical composition of these feedstuff. So that is available. These are a very detailed chemical composition from this animal feedstuff, poultry feedstuff composition from recent and summer book. So now you can go through this, and that chemical composition will be required during the feed formulations. And I have given this stuff in detail in a form of table that can be used for feed formulation. Similarly, fish meal, the fish which is not fit for human consumption or not, cannot be used for human. So that is available and it is properly processed and can be used in poultry feeding. This is a very good source of lysine, methionine, and cysteine, which are usually deficient in case of other in plant protein sources except the soybean protein content. They are about 60%. Similarly, blood meal, I am not going through this. That was available, but now that stuff is not being used. Here, just to mention that this is the stuff that can be made available, but with a very precaution, or if we want to export our product, then we should avoid such stuff. Poultry feather meal, they contain up to 80% protein, and their protein is digestible, but it contains a keratin type of protein So that's why they have the palatability problem. We use in up to a certain limits, within 5 to 10%, and it is deficient in lysine and methionine, then tryptophan and histidine. Its bypass protein value is good, and it passes the Riemann. So you can say its protein can compensate some deficiency of amino acids at gut level. The composition of the fiber meal. So this is the table for a feed formulation. You can safely use these figures as protein feedstuffs. Next, the mineral supplement and vitamin according to the animal requirement. Different type of products they're available in the market, but most important from mineral point of view, there is a dicalcium phosphate in limestone, rock phosphate. These are the three calcium sources that can be used. Similarly, for vitamins, synthetic available coming from different countries. Last one is the feed additives. Again, a lot of additives, prebiotics, fermentation modifier in the market, and they can be used just to differentiate between feed supplement and feed, the stuff which we normally use to fulfill the deficiency. Like if there is a calcium deficiency, we add we add dicalcium phosphate or limestone to fulfill the deficiency of calcium and phosphorus. If amount is not coming from the feed stuff, that is not sufficient. So we can add some supplement like ribos, a vitamin or so that's to fulfill the deficiency. Whereas the feed additives, they are not to fulfill the deficiency, rather they are the stuff which are used to improve the nutrient utilization, to improve the feed keeping quality, to improve the taste, palatability, to improve the growth rate of the individual. So they are non-nutritive feedstuffs, and they are used in a small quantity to improve the worth of the diet in a very simple way, you can say. Like certain medicine